executive chef and also the owner and creator of Rolling Indulgence food truck.
Yep.
Thank you for coming today.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm super stoked to be here.
This is awesome, man. Yeah.
Sweet venue.
It's sweet, dude. Yeah, we have some shows coming up, and this place is going to be really good. I think that I'm very hopeful for the future of this place.
Yeah, it's going to be. It looks sweet.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, when you get like-minded people together, I mean, you know this, you can really make magic happen, dude.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. With the right skill set. I feel like someone from Taken, the guy from Taken, like with the right skill set, in 3 days you can build an empire.
Yeah, I always like the power comes with great responsibility. You know what I mean? It's like when you bring a bunch of people in together and you're able to do that, you could build a shitload of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Am I allowed to cuss? Are we allowed to cuss?
Absolutely,
okay.
dude. Yeah, this is like
I didn't know
YouTube
how
and
open this
Spotify.
was. Yeah, sweet. Okay.
No, yeah, you could do whatever. Yeah, it's fun. That's the whole thing. This is like no pressure, low budget, like cameras and microphones.
It's perfect.
It's not Hollywood shit.
No, it's
just
perfect.
Like fun.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. So I know a little bit about you, and people may not know this either, or your friends who are watching this may already know, but you've obviously been on television before. So this isn't like the first time. You seem pretty comfortable behind camera.
Yeah, it's
right?
not. Yep, it's pretty normal. To be
pretty
honest.
normal, dude. Yeah,
I realized a while ago it was like just be yourself. You know what I mean? Just forget the cameras there and kind of just chit chat.
That's the people want to see on camera, right? That's the most entertaining people is people being authentic.
Yeah, being themselves. You know what I mean? Like that's.
So talk to me a little bit about when you were on the Great American Food Truck Race. Obviously, you made it pretty far in the competition, and I saw when you made that hollandaise sauce in the second episode.
Yeah.
You pulled that out of nowhere, dude. That was, little stuff like that was getting you through the competition. So, and you were also a guy from Dayton, so. And I enjoyed watching your episodes, man.
I appreciate that. It was an adventure of a lifetime. It was the scariest, funnest thing we've ever done.
Yeah. What was it like meeting Chef Tyler?
It was cool. It was at first. It was a little like obviously nerves are going and everything. It's a big production, and I mean there's 100 people part of the production there. It's massive between camera guys, sound guys, producers. It's a huge production. And then Pretty Boy Tyler comes, and it's like okay, this guy's sweet. And just as a chef, I respect the heck out of this dude. So He's not just a celebrity for me, right? His mind is just, it's valuable. So when I first saw him, you're a little starstruck and everything. But as you kind of get deeper and deeper, and like you said, well, once you make it a couple weeks and a month in, you're just, this guy's just a normal guy, and he's a genius. Learn as much as you can from him.
Yes.
But I tell people all the time, the coolest people on TV aren't actually on TV. It's the sound guys, it's the producers, it's the camera guys. Those guys get to travel the whole planet, right?
Yeah.
So Discovery owns Food Network, so it's like these guys don't just work for the Food Network. They get to do these cool shows all over the world.
I did not realize that.
Oh, dude, it's wicked. It's like I follow a lot of my friends from the show. I stay in contact with. And I get to see their travels, and it's like they literally travel the whole planet, dude. Filming in Antarctica, just everywhere you can think about.
So sick.
Their stories are the ones that you want to hear. The producers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was the funnest thing was just meeting people. It was a challenge. It was you're getting mic'd up at 5 a.m. And then by the time you get your head back down at the hotel room, it's like midnight or 1 a.m. and you're trying to get room service to eat, and because you don't really eat most of the day of filming. So, it was nonstop. And we did that for a month and a half, so it's like by 30 days in, you're just like, send me home. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
It was brutal. But it was a challenge against yourself. It wasn't really, it's a competition show like that is really, it was versus myself as a chef.
Absolutely.
And could you think of how to cook alligator when you're just mentally and physically exhausted and you've never cooked I'm a Cali kid, right? So alligator is just not in my repertoire. But it had to be on the show, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you were completely out of your element.
100%,
You stood strong, dude.
Threw us in the South. I haven't really been in the South very much before, you know what I mean? So I never really messed with that cuisine, and that's what the people wanted to eat. So it was like, just trying to adapt to all that was the challenge.
Yeah.
I
bet, so is there stuff that you learned from that you still use today? Are there any concepts or food concepts or anything that you brought back to the Midwest with you and you now
100%
use with your restaurant?
Yeah. So the guy who actually won, his name is Chef Daryl, and he's one of my biggest influences.
NOLA Creations?
NOLA Creations.
They were on another season too.
Yeah, they were on the championship season. Yeah, and Daryl's been on a couple other shows on the Food Network. He's one of, like I said, I've got to work with him. He invited me and Travis out to Miami. He moved down to Miami, and he's running his business out there, Nola Creations, still holding strong. Go check him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got to go cook with him there. I stay in contact and we talk quite a bit. But what I was able to learn from him and that style of cooking, the New Orleans, the South, that style, I integrated it in rolling big time. Beignets are one of my favorite things to make now. I love beignets. You know what I mean? I never knew how to make a beignet before. It's a fancy French donut, but it wasn't out of my repertoire, but he beat me with it on the Food Network, so it had to be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, dude, I love that you're taking the weakness from the competition and now using it as a strength.
Oh, 100%.
In a way, in your life now.
For me, it was my business, Rolling Indulgence, is successful 5 years later because of the experiences that I learned on that show against the Brunch Babes, against the Nola Creations. A lot of my recipes are influences from other trucks that I met on the show. These became my friends. So they weren't competitors. And I tell people all the time, like, I compete against myself. I don't compete against anybody else as a chef. So I made friends. I became friends with these people. And most of all these people on the show, we were all really, really tight till the very end. And we still are, you know what I mean? So, but they were there for a reason. You know what I mean? Some of them were the best home chefs in the country. Some of them were the best marketers in the country. These people were made up of a lot of different types of lifestyles, but they were brilliant. So what can I learn from each one of those?
Absolutely.
And now I'm successful in my business because of that, you know. So
that's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It's also really cool that you're giving them credit where it's due, because not everybody's able to do that humbly.
I mean, food's one of those things that I'll never do that.
It's like art.
Yeah. And very few people are creating food from scratch, like from zero. And you know what I mean?
It's someone else's idea. Right. The sandwich has already been done.
It's infusing this concept with this concept and putting your spin on it, your cut on it. You know,
I'll be honest.
I'm not going to reinvent the wheel.
Comedy, all the stuff that I do in my wheelhouse, in my world, it's the same thing.
Right.
We're just taking a blueprint or a sort of template, and then I'm just plugging in my weird ideas.
Yeah, whatever you got, whatever comes from you.
Cutting it with my idea, my childhood, or whatever that or my marketability. And I'm like, this is actually what I think is cool, and it's just who's the loudest in the room, really.
That's all I do with food. That's why Rolling Indulgence for me it's a playground. It's like, as a kid, I want a milkshake that's this big with a giant freaking cake on top of it with some crazy treats, and that's what I would want as a kid. So why not create it? Why not make it? Yeah. That's what I do. I want a big ass burger. You know what I mean? I want gold leaves on whatever. It's literally a playground. Like you said, it's art. I suck at drawing. I suck at painting and writing and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? But I can make a plate look cool. You know what I mean? And that's my form of art. But like food, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. So all I can do is put my own cool fucking, this would be sweet to see.
Right.
And do it.
Things that you've seen from all around the world, even. I mean, you've been cooking. You've cooked for people all around the world. So it's like having all that experience, and then I'm sure your restaurant's amazing. I need to go down there. I really
for
need
sure.
to come
Definitely come check it out.
This is Carver's, correct?
Carver's is the steakhouse. Carver's is where I can kind of I can put the fine dining touches on it, and Rolling's more of the crazy shit. You know what I mean? And Carver's is where I kind of fine tune it. And I
also love that you have people aren't going to eat M&M Sundays every day, but I love that, and I know there's a place for it in the market.
Right.
But also, you're like steakhouse. I mean, it's a prime in this part of the country. That's like where you go to eat a fancy dinner, right?
Well,
in the Midwest.
It's two different creativity outlets for me. It's one where I get to be fancy and charge $50 for a plate, and then the other thing I can do where I can make it pretty and colorful, but with Oreos, you know what I mean? And then over here, it's filet mignon and it's that kind of thing. So it keeps it kind of, for me, it's challenging in both different areas. You know what I mean? And I'm also the banquet director at Centerville High School, so I have my third outlet is this teaching and these kids and everything that I got going on. So I get awesome food or nice food, then I get this extravagant, goofy kid food where I get to play, and then I got this where I'm teaching it to the kids. So it's like a for me, it's a unison of just keeping my mind going. You know what I mean?
It's like when you see the 3-circle diagram. Right?
Yeah, exactly. The Venn diagram thing.
Yeah, and they're all intersecting. Like, you're like, you can put fucking pancakes on a grilled cheese or whatever. It's like, who cares? Because this is this is my world, right? And it's all like that's.
And then
pretty
shit, if I throw caviar on, I can charge $40 more.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's that type
and you
of
have
thing.
a crazy upcharge on it.
Put some weed in it. Now you've infused it, which I
Yes.
think is the best. I think is that's the next avenue. You know what I mean?
And that's an untapped market, especially in this here in Ohio in the Midwest, right? There's obviously a ton of shows about it, and there's a ton of knowledge on YouTube, and there's a ton of people who've been doing it forever in California, Washington,
Colorado,
all these places where it's been rolled out.
But it's still the forforefront, right? So
It's the forefront,
it's
like
still,
gold in the fucking 1920s.
Exactly.
Right now.
It's still at the base level. You know, I've lived in Cali, lived in Colorado. Like I've seen this as it came up. I was there before it went legal and after it went legal. Like this stage that we're in with this infusing weed and food together is still at its base. And as a chef, it's nothing's more exciting to think about, you know, putting this in my butter and making a shrimp scampi where you can, you know, get a little woozy. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Dude, literally, like that is the move, bro. That's what's my heart sings that all the time. It's like, why are we putting it in the food? Like we should be. It's now legalized. It's not only legalized, it's decriminalized, and I think at low doses it could be really fun and
you
it
do
can be
smart,
really
right?
tasty.
There's medical there's medical things that it helps.
Exactly.
Like there's things that it's not just for, you know, fun and everything, but how you feel. We live in a world that now it's pretty stressful environment. Like
you watched it happen before. This could be your chance to get back in the market. Now you're in Ohio where you're watching it unfold again.
Exactly.
Don't let that skip you by. I mean, you're already been successful, very successful in lots of other ventures. I mean,
well, I'm not gonna lie. Rolling Indulgence in 2019. Yeah, that was
rolling meant something else.
Yeah. rolling Indulgence. You know what I mean? It was like I'm rolling on the streets, but no, at 100%. It was my double meaning for sure.
I get that.
It's like, you know, like that
you're
was,
smart enough to do that.
It was branding.
I see
you know
that.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get there, you know, because that's for me. I like I said, I like to challenge myself, and that's a new level of type of cooking. I don't know much about throwing butter into too much food, but
I don't know much about it either. I mean, I've been doing it for years myself. I mean, for a long time, for probably 10 plus years, I've been making my own butter at home and making edibles, but it's more convenient to just buy the gummies and stuff now.
For sure.
But if I had like the passion that you have for food and in the knowledge,
learn it.
Yeah, I would love to put it into things that people have never heard of. And then you're going to get a different kind of clientele where not only are they already willing to pay, you know, a good price because that's why they came, but now they're willing to pay even another overhead to have that other experience that's nowhere else.
The elevated experience,
it's
right?
Literally elevated.
I guess for me, it's the quantity. It's right. So if I cook a batch of butter that I'm going to feed for 170 people, how do I times that? Yeah. I guess that science between that is something that I wouldn't want. Like, what if I don't put enough in there? You know what I mean? I gotta play around with it and learn it in batches and big batches and doing it at scale, I guess. Exactly. And that's like, but
I think finding the right distillate or the right distributor that has the distillate that's like probably flavorless. I mean, have you watched any of do you watch cooking shows?
For sure. Yeah.
That's all I watch when I'm at home, basically.
It's one of those things, like, as somebody who cooks all the time, it's like, I like watching cooking shows, but I'm very judgy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It's like I gotta watch like chefs that I just admire and I know that are kind of doing their thing.
How
it's
about
hard
any
for
of the
me
weed ones, like the Bong Appetit?
Oh, super good, right? So then, like I said before, that's something I don't know about. So it doesn't matter how much I know about food. That is the science behind that is something that I don't have yet. So that's unbelievably fascinating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same with me.
And I just look at it from a business, right? Like I said, there's so much money. If I have a dish that costs $20 right now and I can add this little bit, now it's a $35 dish, and all I did was add a butter or whatever. That's a good business.
Yeah,
you know,
because because obviously the experience, they're already willing to pay for the experience for the $15 or $20 alone, and this other experience for $20 for the dish alone. So when you put them together, it's like, why not?
100%, and the show, right? So whatever the lighting or the music or the ambiance, or the whole show, you know. But I think that's an untapped market, definitely in Ohio, that hopefully we can be at the forefront.
I do. That's my goal, man. That's the move. I think that's the future of weed. And right now there's still a gray area. Obviously, the only thing that I know about it is, you know, since 2014, apparently when they passed this farm bill, that certain products that are labeled THCA, they can be sold in smoke shops and places of that nature, right? Or online now, as long as it's hemp flower, which from my understanding, all flower is hemp flower until it's combusted or until it's decarboxylated when you cook it. So technically there's a gray area where you can put THCA in the food now, right? Even before everything's rolled out. I don't think everything's rolled out quite yet, but if you could buy these gummies at a gas station, I don't know why an upscale business can't, or a food stand or whatever. Someone, I don't know why they couldn't sell the same thing as long as you're not using the same grill.
Right.
There's certain, just like if you were cooking vegan food, right? You have to prepare it a certain way with special tools that don't touch meat, and you want to respect that of your other clients, or if kids want to eat your sandwiches or whatever.
100%.
So
yeah, I guess that would be the biggest thing is keeping it away from them. As mobile vendors,
yes,
that's going to be the hardest thing. It's like
Absolutely.
I'm not. It's going to be hard to ID check somebody, right? You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's something you have to start doing if you
for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the laws are going to be, but around that. So that would be the trick, if it's going to be, even we're allowed to do it, even mobile.
If you're allowed, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure it out. But
yeah, I think if you have your vendor's license, it is something to look into, though. Absolutely. And then also maybe talk to a lawyer about, or
for sure,
something like that before you spend $20,000 or something crazy.
Yeah. I think we're still a little ways away from it. I think I'm going to practice. We're allowed to practice right now. So
exactly.
Just start learning it and start kind of doing the research that we need to kind of figure it out.
That's what I think too.
Right now, there's so much the food truck season is about to start, so it's like, I got time.
Yeah. So, what is the food truck season? Because I understand that some people will go even down south for the winter months, just like landscaper hours or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when it's warm, you go out and you get that money.
I actually regret not going out more this year, just because I think it only snowed twice this season.
Yeah.
But I typically close my truck down from November until like March, April. April is when I'll kind of get going again.
Okay.
And that's also because I'm at Carver's. So my slow season at Rolling is a busy season at Carver's, between holidays and everything like that. And then I go to Las Vegas the last couple years, and I work festivals down there. I'll be gone for almost 2 weeks in May again this year. A really sweet
really
festival.
Exciting, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, you get to go to Vegas and cook for thousands of people.
Yeah, so it's EDC. It's the Electric Daisy Carnival, and it's a wicked festival. I think it was like 500,000 people, and it was the hardest venue I've ever worked. Where it was, we think we were up for 72 hours straight almost. You know what I mean?
Shit.
It was like
just cooking, dude.
Just nonstop, just pizza, wings, and just thousands and thousands and thousands. It was nuts.
So did you set up as a vendor, or did you take your truck all the way out there?
No. So
a pop up or something?
Yeah. So one of the buddies from the Food Network that I met, his name is Eddie. He's wicked. He owns the food truck factory in Las Vegas, and he runs the food trucks for the Food Network when they're done, when they're running the show and everything. But he's a genius in our world, in that world. He's a chef. Like I said, he owns this factory where he himself has 5 different food truck concepts: a wing truck, a burger truck, a taco truck, couple other trucks. So I go down there, and he gets these giant events, and he asks for some help, and I work really good under big events and pressure. I love cooking under pressure. You know what I mean? I'm not. I say I'm a chef, sure, but I'm really just a really good cook. You know what I mean? I just like cooking. I like being in the battle. I like being hot, sweaty, and cutting myself and burning I like battle.
Yeah. A good challenge.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So going out there, that's what it is. It's just busy. Eddie's in charge. You know what I mean? He's my back hurts. You're tired. You're exhausted. It's that feeling that while I can do it, that's why I became a cook in the first place.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So going out there and doing it at the biggest scale there is that's when you find out what you're made of.
Yeah. I have no type of experience on that level like you, but I did work as a line cook at like Cadillac Jack's and a couple Legends Wings, and I did some fast food joints when I was a teenager.
Busy, dude. Busy's busy.
And I've had some. I've worked a drive-through window before at 5 p.m. But it's I don't know. Cooking has always been a passion for me. It's something that I really want to incorporate into like my life and my business. So that's why I was really inspired, and I'm going to be starting a grilled cheese stand.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I might kind of mention that to you earlier, but I don't know if people watching this know. But so that's basically like the show that you were on was kind of one of the benefactors of me like binging the show to the point where my girlfriend was like, "Why are you like?
Why don't you give it a shot?
I don't want to watch it again."
100%.
She was like, "You need to either start a food truck or stop watching this fucking show." So I was like, "All right, well, I don't have the means to start a truck right away, but I was like, let's do some market research. Let's figure out when and where I can open, how I can open, and what I need to at least get on the concrete and like get it." So, you know, I started just doing all the research and found out that pretty much I could just get some coolers and enough tables and like grills and a pop-up tent to where, you know, as long as everything's up to temp and you're following health guidelines, you're not killing people, you could pretty much set up a food stand anywhere. And the lady was like, "Hey, you can get 10 of these this year. So you can pop up 5 days at a time for 10 events." And she was like, "And if you don't have the money to get a commercial fridge right away," she was like, "you just put it in someone else's name 10 more times." And I was like, I love the health department.
Yeah.
I was like,
they'll work with you for sure.
Yeah, dude. They were, and everything was so intimidating because like I've never had my own business besides like the photography stuff that I do. Like I do little stuff here and there, but it's not like an LLC. It's just like a side gig I do for my friends and shit. So I was really nervous, and you know, I just didn't have the confidence that all this stuff was going to work out, dude. So I just think it's funny because I have a mutual friend with you, and so his name, shout out Jared, and I was talking to him about this concept, and he was like, and I was telling him about my inspiration from the Great American Food Truck Show. And he's like, "Dude, I know a guy who was on that show." And I was like, "You're full of shit." But it's a small world. And dude,
for sure.
And so like a couple weeks later, we're sitting in front of each other. So I just think it's like, it's pretty cool that stars have aligned. And I'm just trying to soak up some knowledge and inspiration and information from you, man, as a chef. And like, also, I think you're just a cool guy to talk to.
Appreciate that. I think
so.
You're
This
awesome.
this is a super good vibe. I want to just fire off a couple of questions here. We'll take a break in like five or six, and then we'll do another 30. But I was just gonna ask, who's your favorite celebrity chef? And you can't say Tyler.
Chef Daryl.
Chef Daryl?
Yeah.
He's your favorite celeb chef?
100%.
What about like old school celebrity chefs? Top 3.
Marcus Pierre White.
Marcus Pierre White. I'm not familiar with his work.
Yeah. He trained Ramsey. So I'm
my God,
giant.
food people are gonna fucking hate me in the comments right now. They're like, he doesn't know Marcus Pierre White.
No, I mean he's one of the, like you said, he's old school chef.
Okay.
But he was one of those, just he's exact, and he's old school kitchen, throwing stuff, burning stuff. It's like people are a little soft nowadays, especially in kitchens. Kitchens for me are one of those things. It's a pirate ship. You're gonna get burnt. You're gonna get thrown at. You're gonna get yelled at. Yes. You know what I mean? It's one of those things like when you're in battle, it's battle.
So
all
this is the guy
who
trained the guy who runs Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this is the fucking inspiration.
Yeah, Ramsey's he's healthy. He's a TV personality, but at the core, basically, he's brilliant, right? He's the reason he is who he is because how brilliant he is. But yeah, Marcus, he worked under Marcus Pierre White for a little while.
So he's kind of playing him on TV in a way, if you want to think about it like that, and at least for that show. Yeah,
it's person, and he has so many other shows, and he's personality. Right. But at the end of the day, it's how knowledge. I as a chef, it's what you the skill level. Yes. You know what I mean, and the artist. Like I think he's a culinary genius.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's one of
Gordon Ramsay's.
And I love his personality. I just think
such a great chef.
He's fun.
Amazing, dude. Yeah. Amazing. And I love that he's like a no nonsense guy.
For sure.
Like he doesn't fuck around, but when you see his plates and the way that he talks about food and the passion that he has for
That's what I mean.
You have so much respect for him, you can't help it.
Right. So Marcus Pierre White, and then Bourdain for sure.
Bourdain,
like, rest in peace.
That's a good one.
He's like I said before, like a lot of us. Being a chef it can get fancy and it can get pretty, but we're just cooks. You know what I mean? We're pirates. Like that's what really being a chef is. You know what I mean? It's the battle.
No reservations.
And Bourdain was he was in the battle, and he was able to show the world all there's. I don't think there's anything on this planet that's has more abundance than flavors, right? From seasonings to sauces to I mean, every culture on the whole planet has its own unique way of cooking and its unique ingredients. You know, like so. I just don't think there's anything in this world that's more abundance than flavor. You're never going to master all of them. But Bourdain gave us an insight into so many flavors from all over the world that it's like, wow, that's traveling. You know, and if you can't if you can't travel, it's expensive. You can travel through food, right? You can have a Vietnamese dish. You can travel to Thailand. And that's what Bourdain gave us. So Bourdain was the adventure. You know what I mean?
Dude, you made me want to go back and binge No Reservations. The way that you're talking about
Yeah,
it.
for sure. But all he did was he was just a good cook.
Yeah.
If you become a good cook, it's one of the reasons I became a cook in the first place. I can cook anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah.
If I want to, I don't have to be a chef at these fancy restaurants. I can just go get a job at a resort and blah in Bora Bora. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, wherever, just because I know how to cook. Like that for me is the most important skill.
Absolutely.
Outside of the recipe books and all the fancy other flub stuff, you know. But Bourdain, for me, that's who he was. So I got Ramsay, who kind of keeps me in line, and he's the business side of it. And then I got Bourdain, who keeps me in this adventure world, and you know. So, but I got thousands of, I guess, inspirations. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
I think the one thing that always stuck out to me about Bourdain was that he kind of lived two lives. Like he lived an entire life until he was 40, where he was just like sort of a regular person. And then he was a celebrity who traveled the world for the last 20 years of his life, which must have been incredible. I mean,
and I don't even think he was a celebrity in his own right. I thought he was
for his time,
for sure.
Right?
But for him,
all
it was
intents and
just
purposes.
It was like this, right? It was like it was just the camera wasn't, and it wasn't there. They were just his friends, and everybody he met were just his friends.
It was like a YouTube vlog back then.
Yeah, he didn't get to see the big crowds or anything. Like he would ask for his autograph, but he lived a world that I don't think any of us can experience. Like that's the dream. As a chef, that's the dream.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you're right about that. I think I would definitely say my number one would be Gordon Ramsay too. I would say number two for me would probably be Alton Brown.
Alton's awesome. Yeah. He's a wizard.
When I was a kid, dude, I would just like, because I didn't know how to cook or anything, but I always loved cooking shows. But I loved his because it would tell me they would stop and do like a recipe in the middle.
Yeah.
And he would show you like how to make freaking pancakes or something.
Well, he's a wizard, dude. He's one of those people that like he can fix anything. Right. A recipe's never really truly broken with Alton Brown. He's a wizard. He's super personable.
Yeah. I've always thought he was a really incredible chef for me. And I would say my number three, might be controversial, but it's as a personality especially, but it's Action Bronson.
Action's dope.
Dude, fuck, that's delicious. One of the best cooking shows.
Well, that's one of those other traveling shows. Action gives you a whole nother side of the world. His rapping is awesome. He's a well-rounded dude.
They're doing dabs on the show.
Yeah,
it's the first cooking show where they do dabs.
That's a whole right.
We were talking about that earlier.
Kitchens are whole different worlds.
Yeah.
And you got this world and this world and this world, and Action comes from that fun, laid back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
let's get high and create some cool
New York
shit.
vibe.
Yeah. Like Action's awesome.
I think so too. He's definitely one of my favorite. Number three for you, and then we'll break real quick.
Chef wise?
You're number third, yeah.
Oof. Probably the restaurant Commander's Palace, and anybody who's worked there. It's a New Orleans restaurant. It was who is that? That's where Lagasse.
Emeril Lagasse came from there?
Yeah, it's Emerald.
So
Emerald spot.
You think he would be your number three?
Yes, but his knowledge and his training, that Southern food cooking, that Creole mixed with that New Orleans, I absolutely love it. I think that's one of my favorite foods in the planet now. I mean, it's got influence from the Caribbean. It's got influence from France. It's got influence from Spanish. Like, it's just a really cool fusion of food. And he was one of the best to ever do it.
That sounds amazing.
Commander's Palace. Yeah,
that sounds great. Yeah, I definitely need to go down to New Orleans. I've never been down there, but I always hear amazing things. And like just thinking about that now, and that level of like culture that's in one spot.
It's super. You've never been out. Yeah, I mean, it's worth the trip. It's one of the coolest places I've ever been. I mean, just when it comes to the food, like I said, it's super, super unique, and I'm all about unique food. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. You guys stick around. Back green room there, as like probably we could build a couple sets in there, and then also still have sofas and stuff for the comics when we're doing shows.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately.
And you don't need. I mean, keep it 2 to 4 people. You know what I mean? You could, like
exactly.
This place should have a studio.
Yeah, I think that's the next move back there is just getting that together. Also, we need to paint this place. We got to get chairs in here first for the big show before we. I think we have like 3 shows, and we're back, everybody, and we're live. If you guys don't know, we're live from the Delta Dispo from Jokes and Tokes at the Delta Dispo, live on stage. I'm here with Drew Ballard, everybody, Chef Drew Ballard.
How's it going?
Thank you so much for coming and talking with me again, dude. And we were just kind of shooting the shit, but that is something that I want to do is build like just more podcast infrastructure in general in the city. It doesn't have to be stand-up comedy. And like there's a few good podcasts in town, and I try to like help with people who are just kind of getting into the podcasting business as much as I can.
Yeah.
And then also I'm always encouraging people, if they have like a business or a good idea, that's how you stay on top and become like a brand leader and in your market, whatever sphere you're in. I think that's how you're going to be like that thought ambassador in your sphere, is having good marketability. And that doesn't just come with having great names and great food, right? It's like social media shit.
It's big. Honestly, that's what my worst. One of the things that I lack the most is social media. Like I'm terrible at social media. It's just so intricate that it's something that I need to utilize way more. But I usually I let the food kind of do its thing, and let when we go to events and kind of just. But yeah, I need to get better at that.
So you're not doing like your own food photography and stuff like that?
I mean, I do. I take pictures of my food if I can think about it. But what I mean, like I have a small team, so it's me and like 2 other people, and once we're in it, like you kind of forget to take the really cool pictures. But I have so much content that I just have on my phone. I just have to kind of like do it. You know what I mean?
Start posting it.
Yeah, but
it's
kind of finding the time to just sit down. I'm not really a good sit down on a computer type person. You know what I mean? It's like I can do it for like 20 minutes, and then I gotta go do something.
Yeah, if your hands are full, dude, you can even hire social media managers.
I need to.
I mean, with someone at your level, you can only grow. And there's nothing bad. There's nothing bad that will happen.
I'm lacking on it. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's a fun thing, especially on the truck and going to all these cool events and meeting all the cool people. It's like you throw a camera on there and just record it.
I'm a videographer, so if you ever want to do some stuff, dude, and we can even do a lot in one day. You can do like a couple weeks or a month worth of content in one day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And just make a bunch of dishes, and then have someone film them, and then you put out those 3-minute videos all throughout the month. Right. But you did all that in 3 hours. So it's all about, you know how to prep food, right? So you know how to like serve a bunch of people. That's what I do with content. It's like, I know how to prep a bunch of content, and then we serve that out over time to a large amount of
slow period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Slow drip.
No, I do. I need to think about it. I've spent so long. I spent the last like decade just learning these skills. You know what I mean? So it's like putting them all together is kind of one of my hardest things to do. It's like I spread myself super thin, and I'm always doing something somewhere. You know what I mean? But putting it all together, that's kind of like that's my hardest thing.
Yeah, like editing it.
100%, and finding and to prioritize like. For the brand, what's important. Like I said, it's like I'm always just thinking about a new burger or a new event or like how we're going to get, you know what I mean? Instead of thinking about how I can get the brand out there more at a social media level.
I would say, and this is just not to counter that, but just to say that when you add, I think, a picture or like even a few second video of the finished product of that new sandwich that you're offering,
right?
Little stuff like that, I think, because obviously you've been doing it for so long that it's just like you're desensitized to how good it really is. Yeah. And I don't think you understand how people talk about your food or what people think about when they see your food anymore, because you're just like, it's like someone who watches too much porn. It's like, you just can't even get into it after a while.
Too much.
You're like, this is a research project. This is like,
I mean, I will say that it's for sure true. It's like one of those things that like I love people saying like, hey, that tastes awesome, but it is kind of like it's at this point it is kind of numbing. It's like food is one of those things that everybody has going to have an opinion about it. Every single person. Mm-hmm. So when you've thousands and thousands and thousands of dishes later, everybody has an opinion about my food, and and anybody who cooks, but I've just became so I'm numb to it. You're either gonna like it or you're not. I know that I put what I could into it. You know what I mean? It's safe. It's going to be delicious, I think, you know what I mean? And that's all I could do with my food. So at this point I love people loving the food, but it's really just, it's about rules for me. Just like this is going to be cooked right. This is enough seasoning. This is enough salt. I know how to cook, so I just kind of do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I gotta find that again. It's like that's why I like rolling so much, to where I can. That's where the fun for me is the creativity, and it's like it's the battle of putting it out and doing these big events with only 3 or 4 people. You know what I mean? And prepping all the like that's the for me that's the fun. But yeah, I need to get better about like, hey, I like your food. You know, like that's something I've. Yeah.
Well, I think people eat with their eyes in this day and age. You know, not that they don't love the food in general, but that just draws more customers, more attention, more. You know, I guarantee your stuff would go viral, dude. Like, there's no way it wouldn't, right? If you post consistently enough.
I mean, yeah, especially with having with having the truck and the platform and the pretty colors and everything. Yeah, I think
people already know what
more time into it.
Yeah, people already know about your brands and they already love your food. I just think that having that next step, or like you said, you're so busy. I mean, you run a couple of different businesses, plus you obviously are trying to live your own life in between all that stuff. So
I mean, yeah,
if you have, you know what I mean, you're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, not really. I have a 2-year-old too. So
yeah, you have a child. Yeah,
so he's between all of that, it's just
it's wild.
Everything's time. You know what I mean? There's something to always do.
You haven't needed it either. Things have gone relatively well, right? So it hasn't been something that's been a priority. Some people, they get famous off of social media or they try to use it as leverage, you know, but you obviously haven't needed it. But I'm just saying, you know, think about getting a social media manager. Yeah,
for sure.
Just because of all the things that you're doing.
For me, it was always like, and I'm still pretty young, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm just working, and one day it'll pay off. You know what I mean? One day it'll all kind of come together and make sense. But as long as I keep learning every little thing, you know, and I've learned a lot more about the business. You know what I mean? I know I can do some cooking and cutting and all that, but it's more learning about the social media, the marketing, the talking to people, interacting with people. It's like I've been
all the
kitchen.
social media is, I think, is leverage, but it's also, if you get enough leverage, it's leverage on a mass scale. So like someone like you, just like a good blueprint, just spitballing here, like someone like you who's been cooking for years and already has a reputation and will probably, when people see you, will recognize you and just automatically follow your brand and what you're doing. Once you get that boisterous, kind of robust social media following, then it's like, hey, guess what? Chef Drew has his seasonings coming out, like the next Dano's or whatever. Right? Like that's literally you. Yeah. And like I know you think about stuff like that.
For sure.
Especially you were on TV for this. Like you think about it competitively to a point where like you fucking care about it.
Well, that's everything I've done since the show has been, it's been, like I said, it's just competing against
what would be your brand if you came out with something?
Just, like outside of rolling?
Like something that you know you can sell on grocery store shelves. Like obviously maybe not like a restaurant style
sauces.
You would put sauces out.
For sure. It'd be sauces.
Yeah.
I like seasonings. I like toasting season. I like seasonings, but no sauces, burgers. There's sauces.
I know a guy in Kentucky who does hot sauce, and he's been very successful with it over the last couple of years. So, dude, rolling Indulgence or whatever, or even just another brand that
I like technology. I think there's an untapped market in especially in the food truck world, like
automation.
Where do you go right now to search custom food truck
Alibaba
spatulas or tongs, or you know what I mean, cooking utensils,
Amazon or maybe even China,
but they really just don't exist. Like it's for food truck specifically or a mobile business.
It doesn't exist.
No, custom things don't really exist. We have to flip shelves around, right? We have to kind of put our own in. If you any food truck you've walked into, it'll have its own unique touch. What they had to do to survive on the road, to keep it from falling over, to implement it. Like there's
whether
just
it's screws or straps,
100%. Like how do you do it? So I think there's an I want to get more into like the warehouse, making it more universal and selling the technology,
the actual components of the truck,
for sure. So I want my sauces and seasonings for sure, but I want to and mobile units, like you said, you don't have a truck, you don't have a trailer.
I would love to get into one for under 10
if
grand.
I could sell you a let's just say a $7,000 tent that already has the functionality of a 3-compartment sink, right? All your test strips kind of included in there, and now I can have the guy who doesn't have very much have a small platform and be able to throw his food in there, right? Like that's
That's a business that could really work. It's a business model that could really work. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest, if you go around the country, the coolest things that are kind of popping up are all these shipping container, multi-restaurant facilities, right? Where it's not just one concept of food. It's 7 or 8 different concepts of food. It's this guy who's phenomenal about southern cooking. It's this guy who can cook a bunch of awesome pizzas with his brick oven. It's this guy who can roll his own pasta noodles. You know what I mean? It's this guy who can sell a South American flair, and it's more of a venue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are the kind of, and it's multi-food, multicultural venue. That's kind of, I think, what's the future of food is.
Yeah.
So like bringing that together.
There's a place like that in Springfield called Market Bar.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
I haven't been there yet. I've heard of it. It sounds pretty sweet.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, they have like
I don't get out
sushi,
much.
chicken. Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're a very busy man.
I mean,
which is another reason I appreciate you coming and talking with me today. This is
the fun
cool
stuff. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We just get this is just hanging and honestly just talking shit about food.
Yeah.
That's what I love to do, dude. Which I don't know if the comedy people have already tuned out, but like that's one of my things, dude. That's my world. You know, I'm always cooking. I have 3 kids and then another one on the way. So I'm always cooking, dude. You know, like.
Well, the restaurant is a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like those worlds kind of definitely go in there. You know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
There's no kitchen that isn't made up of a bunch of goofballs that are just talking a bunch of shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're just throwing recipes together. So it's like that's my favorite thing. And a lot of comics come from the restaurant. I have a lot of comic friends.
Yeah.
That you know what I mean? That worked in a restaurant before. It's like if you can. The restaurant is a comical place. It's like what the hell is going on?
Personalities. We were talking about Ashton Bronson earlier. He's someone who started in restaurants and then became a huge personality.
100%.
I'm such a big fan of him, dude. He's one of those guys where if I met him, I would kind of fan out. Dude, he's just the shit, man. Shout out to Action. Hopefully
I'd love to learn to kind of cook from him too.
Yeah, dude, that'd be crazy.
He's a chef.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like Emeril Lagasse, or he hangs out with Gordon Ramsay and those guys, and he's got tats on his hand and shit. It's like wild to see.
He's a pirate. We're pirates. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you've come from the fanciest restaurant or that's what Bourdain taught you.
Yeah,
like it didn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I like the idea of pirates, dude. That's pretty sick. I always thought too. Tell me if you can relate to this, but like our chefs or cooks. Like alchemists in a way, right? Because you take the elements of, it's not really ours, but we know that it's all like elemental and it's all like in a mixing pot, and then like you make magic.
Yeah, I feel like a wizard sometimes.
A wizard, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Like I got my big stew pot.
My kids think I'm crazy. I'm like, I'll whip this up, and you guys
when
are
you're
like,
making a good stew or like a soup, especially, you know, I got a.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, I got like this big cauldron at work, and it's a steam kettle.
Cauldron?
It's like a cauldron,
dude. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I gotta see.
It's a 35-gallon steam kettle. So that's where we make all of our soups and shit. And but you can throw whatever the fuck in there. And I got this like long 5-foot freaking just stir thing, and that's what I feel like. You know what I mean? And you just throw shit in there, like
dude. Yeah, you're like a witch, dude.
I mean, it's fun.
Like
it's super fun,
dude. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I've been, and I'm just spitballing here, but like I love the idea of like sweet and savory foods. So I've been thinking about doing some. I'm obviously going to do this different styles of grilled cheese sandwiches and like different influences from different cultures around the world, and try to also do an American cheese and just have like all these different wild recipes. But I want to do something sweet. So I'm thinking like a banana pudding or like a banana Foster, like French toast. And doing some different French toast, right? Like marketability wise and also cost wise, I already have eggs and like milk and bread, Texas toast on hand.
Yep.
It's like, why not just buy some cumin and some cinnamon and some brown sugar, right? Make a fucking.
That'd be sweet. I mean, it's grilled cheese, which means you could put like cream cheese inside of the middle. You know what I mean? Inside the middle of it.
Yeah,
literally make it a
strawberry sauce,
a French toast grilled cheese. That sounds fire. You know
French toast grilled cheese would be great with cream cheese, and then if you could actually pick it up and handle it.
Yeah, or brie and blueberries. You know what I mean? You can do a bunch of different stuff with it. That sounds awesome.
Crazy, dude. Yeah. I really like that idea. Or even a peanut butter and jelly style, like fair food inspired.
For sure.
Powdered sugar.
Yeah. You ever heard of a Monte Cristo?
With jelly. What is that?
A Monte Cristo?
Monte Cristo, no.
No, so
Monte Cristo.
Monte Cristo.
Okay.
Yeah. So the original sandwich it's a French sandwich called the Monte Massor, which is really just a baked ham cheese sandwich, essentially, with turkey.
Like a Cuban?
Kind of.
No
Well,
mustard?
yeah. I mean, not really. No, not at all. Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah,
It's a
but
baked sandwich.
Yeah. So so Disneyland or Disney World, one of the two, a chef got a hold of it and created a Monte Cristo. And a Monte Cristo is a deep fried donut sandwich with turkey, ham, and Swiss cheese covered in raspberry sauce and powdered sugar.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. It's a crazy.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley,
It's
dude.
absolutely delicious.
What?
But that sandwich.
I'm gripping this microphone stand.
Yeah.
What?
No, yeah. A Monte Cristo. You got to look it up. It's super good. It's one of my favorite sandwiches to make. I actually made them on the Food Network.
Yeah, you made it on that show.
Yeah. I mean, it was like I kind of changed it up, and I used
I said I didn't hear of it, but I did watch you do that on TV.
I took a tortilla shell instead of, it's usually sourdough bread, but I took a tortilla shell and I made it like a sushi roll type. So it's a sushi roll Monte Cristo, but it was for bite-sized walking around at the fair, you know what I mean? Because you can't just hold a giant thing. But anyway, that sandwich, that's what that French toast sandwich, because I've made a Monte Cristo with French toast before. And it's like a deep fried French toast donut sandwich with meat and cheese, and it's delicious.
That sounds insane.
Yeah, it's
dude.
crazy.
I don't have a fryer on hand because, dude, what
It's
I
true, yeah.
originally wanted to do was like hand cut fries and grilled cheese, because potatoes also low upfront cost, but you can put anything on those. I was thinking like nachos, right? You could do any kind of like, you could do
for sure.
pulled
Top
pork,
loaded
you could
up with
top
it, yeah.
bacon, you could do cheese. So you go crazy with the fries, but that is something once I do go like fully mobile and I get my food license and stuff, I think.
Yeah, as you could grow, kind of expand.
Grow,
and
get
do some fun
fryers, do new stuff on the
for
menu.
sure.
Dude, and tell me if you remember these guys or even if you know what happened to them, but I remember back in the day, there was a food truck that I watched grow from just a regular truck, and then they went to a brick and mortar, but then COVID kind of shut them down. But it was Zombie Dogs.
Yeah.
Local Dayton guys.
Yep.
Dude, very cool, and something that even back then, like 10 years ago, that when I first saw them, I was like, man, nobody's selling food. Like, this isn't like New York or Chicago or something. No, it's kind of untapped here in Dayton.
Yeah, those dudes were innovators. You know what I mean?
Huge for food trucks.
They found a dope market, and they perfected it. You know what I mean? And I was a huge fan. I am a huge fan. So Zombie Dogs is still at Miami Valley Gaming. You can find them right now. Yeah, you can find their trailer down there, right at the horse track.
Dude, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm going to go down there, man. They had some crazy flavors, and they were making house sausages and putting like stuff.
It's great marketing,
you
great
never would hear
branding,
of
and
in
apples on your hot dogs. Yeah,
like almonds. They did see these little thin sliced almonds. I'll never forget it.
It's cool. It was a unique food, and it was, you know what I mean, not too super terrible for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like, and with their fresh ingredients. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Zombie Dogs. Like,
it's something you get stoned, dude, and you eat a big old gourmet hot dog. And who says gourmet hot dog? Right, that's another thing that when you hear that, you're like,
I'm a big baseball fan, so it's like going to get a dog. You know,
you don't hear gourmet in it. Not normally. You get a sausage or you get a dog, right? And I think they kind of, like you said, they were way ahead of their time with not only the hot dog game, but just kind of like the food and the mobile game. How long have you been doing the mobile food business?
So since 2019. So I actually started, I stepped down as chef the first time in 2019 in October, started my food truck, and then operated during the winter time, and then COVID came in 6 months later.
Wow.
So then from then, it's just been a battle to keep her on the road, you know what I mean, and just re-getting events, and then inflation and gas and diesel, and you know what I mean, like,
it's like as soon as you came out of COVID, the whole world has changed by then anyway. And
every industry, but like our industry, it's just every tiny thing has been hit. Your fryer oil's tripled in price, your gas, your diesel, your propane, every ingredient, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the events, the cost to do events, like everything has just went up, and people aren't going out to those events, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been fun, and it's been fun to figure it out. And like we still got, you know what I mean, still got the truck. So we're still giving it a go. But it's definitely been stressful.
Like you said, you love a challenge, dude.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. If you can make it through the last couple of years in this industry, then you're doing okay.
I think certain people are just built for that kind of shit. Right? Like, I know you said you moved around a lot when you were a kid. You were a military kid. Yeah. I moved around a lot too, not military, but just poor. All right, that was weird. I was talking about my mom, and then I literally blanked out, and I was like, dude, I'm a little stoned, and I don't know what the hell we were even talking about. So we're going to forget all about that. I just wanted to come back on real quick and just shout out to Chef Drew for coming on. And I want you guys to go, if you haven't already, Go follow Rolling Indulgence. Make sure you guys go to Carver's, support Chef Drew. He's an amazing chef. Also, you can watch him on the Great Food Truck Race Season 10.
Season 10.
Season 10, it's a good season. It's one of the best seasons. So
it is. It's the best.
You guys watch
sure.
that. I've really enjoyed talking with you today, dude. This has been cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Do you have any events or anything you want to plug? Is there anything coming up that you would like to talk about
just
before we
hit the website and check our calendar. Like I'm always always adding events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But between Carver's and Rolling, there's always something going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, you guys make sure you go follow Drew. Thank you so much for watching this today, dude. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Peace out.